Hello and welcome once again to the Video Store Clerks Podcast. Here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you scream, we all scream for the Scream movies. Ghostface Killer.
And opening.
Let the games begin. Warning. The following podcast contains mature language and adult discussions. You have been warned.
Welcome to the store.
Beautiful. Welcome once again, everybody, to another exciting episode of the Video Store Clerks Podcast. We are your clerks for the evening. I'm Dave.
Chad, man.
Mike.
Chuck, also confused. Dave, are you on crack? What's going on right now?
No.
I just did 3 rails and I couldn't find. What?
Debatable.
That's what we're here to do. We've been trapped in this video store for over 20 years. We can't leave. We get no customers. There's nothing else to do. So, damn it, we decided to start this podcast and share our knowledge and love of movies with the world. Bam. And just as usual, please don't forget to click that subscribe button. Show us some love. It's free. It takes like a hot second, and it means a lot to us. It makes us feel good.
You know, if we actually had been doing nothing with our lives and actually sitting in a fucking video store for 20 years, our nerd level would go like up to here, because that means we've spent 20 years in the same store with each other at videos. I'm pretty sure that in a video store we work at, there's an X-rated area, and so there's just so much.
There is.
There's just so that we would prefer. See, that's the brotherhood here. We prefer to hang out with each other and talk about movies.
So on the agenda tonight, get comfy, hang out. We will go over the news. We will talk about the Scream franchise, Scream 1 through 5, because the new one, Scream 6, comes out Friday. My God, already?
Tomorrow.
Time flies. Tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow.
Oh, shit.
And we will wrap the show up as we always do with our random clip of the week, and we will show a random clip from a random movie and just see what happens. It's usually a lot of fun, so stay tuned for that. Bang, bang.
Oh.
Am I scaring everybody? Everybody seems nervous.
No, I'm just waiting for the news.
Okay, well, let's start it. Kick it up. Down a notch with the news.
Is it the same fart? It sounded like a little dirtier.
It sounded a little wet.
Is that a different sound effect? Or is it the same one?
We should have a different sound effect every week.
Did the news go to Taco Bell?
It sounded like it.
Oh, the news. Let's see what bullshit we got going on this week.
Who died this week?
Nobody. I don't think so. I don't think anybody died.
No one died. Everybody's fine.
It's the weirdest week in the world. Nobody died.
Normally,
everybody's cool.
When we do this, it's at least one person.
At least somebody we admire in the industry, or some way, shape, or form.
So I do have some good news. I know. The Batman Part 2 will start filming this November. So I guess he got the script done. Good job.
Woo! I still need to watch the first one.
Chris Rock said some stuff. Who cares?
Wait. Have you seen it? Did you watch it?
Yeah. I did.
I did. And I'll tell you what, that was the boringest fucking comedy special I ever watched. But thing is, it was not funny. I've never liked Chris Rock. I've always thought he was just not funny. But the thing is, it was the smartest thing he could have done. Because there was an interview after all that shit happened with him and Will Smith, and they're like, why don't you talk about it, whatever. He goes, I'll talk about it when somebody pays me. And Netflix was like, we want to hear it. And yeah, everybody watched it for the last 5 minutes of it. And it's gold because he doesn't, I don't think he mentions Jada at all. He just says bitch a lot. And you can't tell me he's talking about her or Will Smith. And I got to say, even though I'm not a Chris Rock fan, and I hated Spiral, but hats off for him. Like, he fucking was smart about that shit. So, yeah. I'm even though it was not funny, I didn't find it funny at all. It was nice to hear somebody saying the shit about Will Smith that somebody needed to say a long time ago. Because he wasn't the fucking golden boy like everybody thought he was. Whatever. That's another show.
Oh, anyway. Remember the show From?
No. What?
From?
From?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, check it out. It was on Epix.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're around anymore. I think they switched over to MGM Plus. But season 2 is coming out in April.
It's a good show.
Yeah, it's a good show, for real. It's Clerks recommended.
I think it's Elda Idris.
What?
What was that again?
I don't remember his name.
Opa, Essa, blah, blah, blah. And demons come up and you just fuck this up.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in my head, but my dyslexia kicked in.
I just couldn't help it. I just couldn't help thinking about Army of Darkness when he's trying to remember the words. He's like,
and finally, it was recently announced that John Berthal will reprise his role as the Punisher in the upcoming Daredevil series. We'll see.
Is it a continuation of the Daredevil series or is it a new one?
I think it's a continuation.
Okay, because I still haven't finished the first one.
I think.
Or Punisher.
I don't know.
I'm so
could be wrong
behind.
about that. I just hope they don't fuck it up. That was such a good show.
Yeah, that was a good show.
They will.
There, that's it. That's enough of the bullshit. That concludes the news. Are we ready to hop in to the Scream? I'm Ghostface.
Wait. Scream?
What's your
Oh,
favorite
fuck.
scary movie?
Okay.
We're doing Scream? You said,
Yeah.
You told me.
I love Scream. Oh, I like it. That guy with the little hand and stuff. He's like, oh, it's my little hand. And he gets the mashed potatoes. I love it. Such a great movie.
You sent me the text saying the Ghostface Killer. I thought this was a Wu-Tang episode.
Oh,
It is. I
shit.
thought too. That's cool.
Well, cancel.
Yeah.
Hey, Wu-Tang's for the children.
Yes.
I only have
So-
one question.
What?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I knew that was coming.
So what? Do we want to go down through?
Yes.
We should go. We should go from 1 to whatever.
5. Okay.
That's it. That one.
All right, starting with the original 1996. I think it came out at around Christmas time, actually. The original Scream, which I would give 5 out of 5, though, because
Oh yeah.
I believe it's required viewing for any horror fan, especially because in the 90s, horror really died off after that big boom in the 80s. And many would say that Wes Craven and Scream reinvigorated it.
They did.
Did I say
They
that?
did because at that time horror kind of dropped off a little bit. There wasn't that much horror out. People really didn't give a shit except for us hardcores. And Scream, even though a lot of people give it all kinds of shit, but the people that understand are the ones that were there. That was glad to see. Oh, this opened people's eyes again to horror movies again. No, there wasn't a lot of good ones that came popping up around that time, but there were ones that made a stamp and made people into horror fans and kind of like grew things a little bit. I mean, it was the time period of Dawson's Creek and WB.
Yes.
And
all that
you had
stuff. Like you had 90210, you had all those shows, and
yeah.
I think
And
every
Scream-
network had at least one of them.
Scream was kind of the start of a lot of that shit that came out. You know, the I Know What You Did Last Summer. You know, I still know what you did last summer.
Urban
I
Legend.
might know what you might have done 3 summers ago, but I'm not really sure. Part 5, I don't know. You know, Urban Legend and so on, so forth. You know,
Final
there's my friend
Destination.
Ashley. Yeah, Dawson's Creek. Yeah.
What was that? Other Party of Five.
Yeah, Party of 5. Dawson's Creek was a lot better. I was a fan at one time.
You're the fucking Dawson.
No, you could ask Ashley just posted there. I was more of a patient. But whatever. But it was that time period where you had all that kind of stuff out, and yeah, not all of it was that great. Some of it's fun to watch. I still go back and watch some of these fucking stupid ass movies. I watch I Know What You Did Last Summer like once in a blue moon just because I feel nostalgic. But Scream is one that, like, the original Scream, man, it's killer as fuck. It's good. It brings us back to what slashers were, you know, a knife, you know, and maybe occasional other, like, contraptions.
Confirmation.
What did it say, Chuck? What Megan? That's another friend of mine, obviously.
More of a pacey.
Yep, see, there we go. All right. I couldn't see
I have
it on
no
my
idea
screen.
who you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
I never watched that shit.
Yeah, well, whatever. I've gotten shit for a lot of shit that I've watched my whole life, so, you know, whatever. But Pacey was more of like the bad boy. So, big shocker there, right?
Okay.
But it was
So he was Jughead.
Anyway.
this franchise became more of a convergence. For me, I think it was more of a convergence of, you know, with everything kind of dying off from the slashers of the 80s, you had, like we talked about, the Dawson's Creek, the 90210 type stuff. It gives that background setting, and then it adds the element of the slasher along with murder mystery to make it a whole new, you know, feel of horror for a new generation.
And it also started a whole new killer with Ghostface or Father Death, whatever you want to call him.
Ghostface.
Ghostface.
Ghostface Death. What? Yeah, no, I mean, like, because he's right up there. Honestly, Ghostface at this point, there's been so many movies in the franchise at this point, and the weird cult status this movie has grown to have. Ghostface is up there with he's up there with Jason and Freddy and Leatherface and all of them. Like, he really is, because all those guys, they made a staple in horror, and so did Ghostface. But we're also going to get onto the whole Ghostface being a killer thing in just a little bit.
I always put Ghostface on that second tier, you know, because I'm just a kid of the 80s. So it's like I got my Freddys, my Jasons, my Michaels, my Leatherface up top. And then it's like, you know, the 90s, it was, like I said, it was for another generation. So the people that grew up in the 90s, Ghostface is their shit, you know, as, you know.
Right. Now,
those are our shit. Or like people before us who were all about the fucking Universal monsters. They're like, oh, fucking Wolfman, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon's my shit, you know. They fucking probably hated all the slasher shit that came around. I'm like, fuck.
Well, I gotta say, my friends that are on here tonight, Scream was a big thing with all of us. So was Dawson's Creek. It all wrapped around, whatever. But a friend of ours who I was kind of hoping was gonna be on here, he wrote a script. Okay, big. He was the Dawson. Okay, he wanted to be a filmmaker, all this stuff. And one thing that he created, one thing that he wanted to do was he wrote a script for this thing that I'm pretty sure he called it Stab or Scary Movie, whichever one. And it was a whole big thing. And then the movie Scary Movie came out, and then the other sequels of Scream came out, and of course Stab was the whole thing. It was a big deal when it came out. Honestly, it made people excited again about horror movies. Splatter. That's what it was. Thank you. It's all the pot. I know. I should remember shit like that. I really should. But I'm 39 years old. It's a lot of things have fried this brain of mine.
Well, that's what the chat here.
Well, now that you mention it, Scream was originally supposed to be called Scary Movie.
Yeah,
that was the original title.
I knew I was getting something confused when it came to all that, but yeah, Splatter. God, I feel like an idiot. And I'm glad Andrew's not watching. If he is, I'm sorry, but It was an important time in my life. It really was. Anyway. Fuck me. Keep talking.
Fucking James Vanderbeek.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, originally it's supposed to be called Scary Movie, and then the fucking spoof ended up being called Scary Movie.
Yeah.
So, quinky dink.
Oh, God. Those movies. Jesus Christ. We won't even talk about them.
They're
All right now.
right.
Yeah.
Now, I did see one thing. The combined budget for all these movies, including Part 6, is $177 million. They made almost $800 million.
Pretty good return.
Yeah. So that's why they keep making them. If anybody's wondering.
Well, duh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, and it's just definitely like if it's not getting remade, it's getting a sequel, no matter what it is anymore. Like, at some point they'll probably even do a remake of the fucking Scream movies or something.
I always hear people say like, "Why are they making another one of those?" Because they make money.
They make money.
That's all.
I mean, it's just like the Saw movies. At a certain point, you're like, okay, I'm going to watch it, but I'm just watching it for the kills, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for the most part, and we'll get more into it, you know, as we go on. But like, for the most part, the Scream movies, and there's not many movies like movie franchises that could do this, but they actually kind of did a turnaround after a minute, you know.
Yeah.
And
Money
they
and
make
nostalgia.
make money off the nostalgia.
Truth, Megan.
Can't fault them for that.
Right. But, you know, with this first one, though, I don't know. It really did just bring everything back. It was fun. It's a fun movie that holds up to this day. I mean,
yeah. I was just gonna say it's a fun whodunit. It has its scary movie or scary moments. And the shock value of killing Drew Barrymore off at the very beginning.
That opening. Jesus Christ.
Great opening.
It's one of my favorite openings, man. It's so brutal in so many ways. I mean, not only is like, you know, because you have a killer who is going to use the stalking method and using the mental terrifying, you know, see how much they can scare that person with these questions and all that stuff and talking to them. But also the fact of, you know, kills her boyfriend, guts him, and then like guts her, hangs her up. Her mom hears it when they come home, and they have to come home and see that shit. There's so much like, what the fuck in that opening scene. That'll always be my favorite. So it's fucking, very brutal. Very brutal. Brutal.
And the fact that she has her phone, her mom's trying to call the police, and she can hear her on the other end getting dragged across the yard.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
But,
it's
horrible. How does that phone stay in her hand? Come on.
I learned to ignore questions like that whenever they would come up in these movies.
That's one of the small details we can overlook because everything else is good.
Right.
The small details turn to much bigger details as we go on.
For sure.
You know, and there was, I mean, this also was one of those movies that, like, even though there was serious subject matter and whatnot, there was some funny to it too.
Right.
There's like a lot of funny moments in this. You know what I mean?
I think they towed the line with that just right.
Even the cast in the movie is fucking amazing. Like, they're all really good actors. And like little tiny cameos by like legendary horror actors too. Like I think Linda Blair's one of the news people. Yeah, in the very beginning.
Freddy reference, which
that
wasn't very subtle, but
Wes Craven hanging out.
There's
not you.
And then fucking Henry Winkler's Fawn's jacket being in his fucking closet in the principal's office.
That was one of my favorite things about that was the fact that Henry Winkler was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like that's just great. Which I mean, how can you not like Henry Winkler? Is he still alive? He's still alive. Isn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad.
Hey,
you know, there is a lot of homages to that stuff in there.
Yeah, and I like the killers.
I agree.
Well, see, that was something that has been copied a lot when it comes down to it, because you don't really have usually the multiple killer aspect of things. And this one kind of changed the game a little bit on that. I met Matthew Lillard once, Scarefest in Lexington, and he was one of the nicest fucking guys. He actually hung out with my mom the night before one of the fucking parties, and she showed me all the selfies that he took when they were hanging out. It's fucking weird. Nice guy. But I met Skeet, but not like everybody else met Skeet. I went to, first off, poor Skeet with that fucking name. Okay? The guy looks like fucking Johnny Depp's like younger brother or something, and his name's Skeet. Was just like, I don't know. But so as we were leaving the venue, I had to go take a piss, and I go into a stall to take a piss, and as I came out, there is Skeet Ulrich taking a piss next to the sink in the urinal, and beside him is Brutus Beefcake, the wrestler, next to him, and there were some other celebrities there too. And I'm just like kind of floored, like I'm washing my hands, I'm not noticing it first, and I look up, I look over, and like me and Skeet Ulrich just make like eye contact. I'm just like, hey man, like this. I don't know. It was a weird moment. I don't know. It was a weird moment.
He's telling that story. All I can think about is the glory hole scene from the Scary Movie.
That's what I was thinking about.
We're raised in there.
You know, I think there's some therapeutic issues y'all might need to get into after the show.
Oh man.
I actually watched a podcast with Lillard and Skeet, and they were saying, I think Matt was saying that he actually auditioned for Billy's role first, and he didn't get it. I was like, that's pretty crazy.
I'm glad it makes more sense.
I was always a big fan of him anyway, Matt Lillard.
Oh yeah, man.
Like SLC Punk was my shit coming up.
Dude, that was something he pointed out because when me and my ex-girlfriend met him, he'd already been having a few drinks. And he was like, dude, he was super cool. He was just like talking to everybody in line and all this shit. Spending time talking to people. I'll just rush people through. Like he was like standing up and just like greeting people as they walked on through. It was cool shit. And I told him, I was like, man, you know, I love Scream. And I think that, you know, you being Shaggy is nobody else could pull it off like you do. I was like, but man, when I was a teenager, SLC Punk, you know, that was the shit, you know, back when I was like, you know, punk rock or whatever. And he looks at my arm, which I have my Misfits tattoo, and he grabs my arm and he goes, "You're still a punk rocker." Or said something along those lines. And I was like, yeah, man. Like, I don't know. It was just kind of funny. It was kind of cool. But SLC Punk is probably one of my favorites. And also 13 Ghosts.
Yeah, that's good too.
I think that's a very underrated one.
Very underrated. I remember somebody at some point saying that they were going to do another like a TV series of 13 Ghosts, and they were going to do all the backstories of all the ghosts. I thought that was
something everybody wanted them to do. I think it's a great idea.
I think it would be good.
It would make perfect sense for like Netflix to put it out because that would be the format that they would do it anyway.
Sure.
That's what they do with all their shows, all their documentaries, all this shit's like, oh, part 1, part 2. We'll just do that with this shit.
I mean, you could even just do it with just like episodes. Have it be a series. Each episode's a different fucking ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining the class there, Chad. Anyway, so Scream 1's awesome. We love it. Good shit.
We get ice cream.
But now it's like for everybody that's watching now that didn't grow up at the time, the cast is, you know, has progressed, you know, way further. So it's like back then, everybody just knew Drew Barrymore from like E.T. and shit. And this was kind of like a reemergence for Drew Barrymore because she hadn't really done much.
It was.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
And, you know, now that she's older, you know, they put her in Scream and then she ends up getting like Charlie's Angel shit and, you know, goes on to bigger and better things. So she wasn't blown up.
50 First Dates.
50 First Dates. I like 50 First Dates. No hate there.
Hey, yeah. No, I love Drew Barrymore. I could, you know, really. She's like the most lovable fucking like person. Like, what the fuck, you know? I kind of hate watching her get fucking murdered in it, but they were smart putting her in that role because she is so goddamn wholesome.
Yeah, oddly enough,
when she started being wholesome because she has a past, but whatever. We all have a past.
And oddly enough, everybody ends up going on to bigger and better things except Skeet.
Yeah, that's sad. I like Skeet. He's a nice guy. But when I met both of them, there was barely anybody in his line, but everybody was in Matthew Lillard's line, and I felt horrible for him because he seemed like a nice guy, you know. Even though made eye contact in the bathroom, and it was the most awkward thing.
Just,
And the only thing I could think about was, I'm
he
so glad
stared
I
at you while
washing
he was
my
taking a piss.
I was washing my hands. The urinal was beside, and there was a wall there, and I just kind of just looked around, saw Bruce Beefcake, and I just kind of looked around. I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? Yeah.
And did he just keep staring?
He did. He was like, I'm doing fine, man. I'm having a really good time.
It takes a man to do something like that.
He was a nice fella. Okay, it was a lot better because after I walked out of the bathroom, I got about this close to Tracy Lords walking by me as she bitched about everybody that came through her line to her manager. She's like,
That was perfect.
I
That
was
would have
like,
been perfect.
what the fuck is happening to me right now?
How is that not the perfect segue? You go out of the bathroom and you see Tracy Lords and be like, hey, did you just catch Skeet? Zing!
There you go.
There you go. So the original Scream, 5 out of 5. Your Clerks, highly recommend this film. For any horror fans out there, I would consider this required viewing.
It definitely is. I mean, it's right up there with Texas Chainsaw Massacre and all that shit. It really is. It's a movie that if you're a horror fan, watch it. Teenagers can watch it. It's still pretty relatable, and it's not really that bad. Yeah, it's good shit. Still holds up.
Put Nev Campbell on the map, basically. I mean, she'd done The Craft, but I mean, this is what she's known for.
And Rose McGowan.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the movie. This is the franchise, which is why she still keeps coming back to it, except for this new. But
That kind of like brought out Jamie Kennedy and Rose McGowan.
And Arquette.
Rose McGowan.
Yeah,
Oh.
Arquette.
Oh, now that was the one I had a crush on in that movie. I
David
didn't
Arquette?
care about Nev Campbell. Of course, David Arquette. No, I didn't care about Nev Campbell. I didn't really give a fuck about Courtney Cox. Rose McGowan was the one that I was like. Of course, my tastes have changed since then. She was a little too fake for me now, but at the time I was young, impressionable, and jerking off into socks every second I got. So, I had a thing for her. We're not saying anything else about it. That's all I said.
All right.
Hello.
What would you say your favorite kills in the first one are?
Nev Campbell is better. Okay, what was your question?
Favorite kill from the first
Favorite kills.
Oh, actually, besides Drew Barrymore's, because that was a brutal fucking death.
That was.
Um,
Especially for an opening sequence.
yeah, it always expect a good kill at the opening.
It definitely set the tone for the movie.
Right. That one's probably my favorite. But besides that, I like the idea of Rose McGowan when she died, being
stuck in
the door, in the garage door, because that's terrifying. That's a terrifying thought. That I don't know if anybody has that kind of thought, but I know I've had that thought before of like, what would it be like to get, crushed by that? Now, crawling through a doggy door or whatever the fuck, probably not. But, wasn't a doggy door or something that was in the...
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I've never seen that in a garage door before.
No.
Ever. I don't know if they were like, hey, here's a good idea, but there's no door. And they're like, let's just cut one in it. No one will ever know.
I'm sure there's people that keep their dog out in their garage and it just goes outside and...
But is there really? Because even rich people bitch about animals being on their fucking lawn. I don't know if dogs just being able to get out through the garage is like something that they would actually be okay with.
That's
I don't know.
Those things.
I kind of want to call bullshit on it, but I then still don't give a shit because the movie is so good.
Right. Just like her weight. The elevator, or not the elevator, the goddamn garage door wouldn't have gone up sustaining her.
Goddamn garage door.
Yeah, I guess that was too. That was probably one of my favorite, one of the funniest scenes. But yeah, that was always my thing too. Whenever I'm like, I don't think that door would came back down. It wouldn't have actually made it up there.
Semantics.
It wouldn't. but brutal, but a brutal kill. It's a brutal kill. So
Yeah, I always liked this movie. Like, it was definitely something different when it came out. You know what I mean? Like the whole like whodunit element, and then you find out there was two people doing it. There was like the little minor twist, and then I always like to like the just going back and referencing old films. Like at one point when Rose is like, "This is like a Wes Carpenter movie." Like they always just try to add elements into like all like the Godfather's a horror type thing.
Now
that was
the crazy thing about this movie is where the idea came from.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Because you all know who it's based off of, right?
The Gainesville Ripper.
Danny Rowland, which the Murder Junkies have a song called Danny Rowland, which I highly suggest. It's good old punk song about a serial killer.
Go ahead.
Danny Rowland was a fucked up individual. One of his most notable kills was one where he cut a woman's head off, young woman's head off, and he had her body placed in a way like where her body is pointed looking at her head that is on like a dresser or whatever, and that's how the police found her and stuff. The Gainesville Ripper. Old Danny Rowland, who was also a singer. You can find really embarrassing moments of him in court trying to sing songs and trying to make people feel sorry for him for, well, being a complete piece of shit.
Didn't Limp Bizkit do a song about him? Keep rolling, rolling, rolling.
I don't know why I didn't know that was coming next. I was like, I don't know. Did they? And yeah.
Yeah, such a good film. Fucking game changer for horror. And, here we are. Fucking 5 movies later.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, it went away for a while and then came back.
Almost 30 years later.
In the first place, apparently,
Yeah, the first half of the 90s, we didn't have much as far as horror. I know Freddy's Dead and Jason Goes to Hell came out in 90 and 93, but that was pretty much it.
I love them both.
Child's Play 2. Child's Play 2 came out.
Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of sequels. We got Leprechaun, I think, in the early 90s.
But none of them did too well. None of them did too well until this came out. Then the second half of the 90s is when we got I Know What You Did Last Summer, the Urban Legends, and all that stuff. So they played it for all it was worth.
Yeah,
as well as the first sequel to Scream came out pretty quick. I think it was the next year it came out. 97, I think.
I think so.
Let's just look at the old database here.
Yeah, 97.
Yep. They're like, shit, that one did so good. Let's make another one, and let's really rush it so it sucks.
And it was,
but then it did come. The third one didn't come out till 2000. So what the fuck?
And it really sucked. But we'll get to it.
Yeah. We had a lot of gaps between sequels after this one. This was the only time it came out that soon after the previous film. But Kevin Williamson, I think that's who wrote it. Or Keith or Kevin.
Kevin. That's the guy that
he pretty much had the second one already done as far as the script goes.
Yeah.
Like as the first was being released, he already had an idea for 2 more sequels.
Wes Craven said it was okay. I don't get it.
Yeah, the second one, I said 3 out of 5 for the second one. It's not horrible. I wouldn't call it a bad movie. But
I would.
I don't know. It just
it doesn't make any fucking sense. They jumble everything together. Like, okay, oh look, it's Roseanne's sister. Ooh,
oh shit! That's what I forgot to do.
What she's going to be doing? Oh look, it's Billy's mom. Dumb. And I have a problem. I have a problem with watching slasher films that involve killers using guns, and I really get irritated with the same trope of it's almost the Scooby-Doo thing where like at the end of it the mask comes off. In the first Scream it was fine, like whatever, and like of course you have to have a reveal. I get that you have to have a reveal, but I don't understand this one. Like I wanted to like this one. Then they killed fucking what's his ass off, fucking Randy. And I remember me and my friends got really mad about that because he was like, he's one of us.
Yeah.
Because he was. He was what he knew all the shit. What the fuck? I just, oh my god, like it starts off like all right. Jada Pinkett Smith gets murdered. It's great. I'd love to see more of that, more of her dead. A lot.
I bet Chris Rock's a big fan of Scream 2.
I would say, I would say Chris Rock probably watched the Scream 2 at the beginning of it and just jerks off. I know I would.
Bitch!
Yeah. Like, no, like I watched it the other night. I was like, oh, yeah, that does happen in here. And then I watched the first part of it, and then I fell asleep. And then I woke back up as it was over, and I didn't care. I hate that movie. I hate that movie. I think they ruined it. I don't know. The first one was such a strong debut. It was a strong, film. And the second one just seemed like it was rushed. They were trying to get something out there. And again, I don't know why Jackie was in it. Her being in it just makes sense. Dan wasn't there. Darlene wasn't there. Roseanne wasn't there. Like there was no reason for her to be in that movie whatsoever. And her character was annoying. The one thing I will say was it's always funny to see Jerry O'Connell die.
It's always a fun thing.
It's always a fun thing because he dies in a very funny fashion all the time. But yeah.
Well, I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, I don't really mind Jerry O'Connell because for the second one, well, the second one, the thing I was always hung up on with the first one was I was like, Skeet's fucking Billy Loomis doesn't even seem like somebody like this guy looks menacing the whole time. Like, like why the fuck is this chick even date this dude? He's just a fucking creeper. He's fucking sneaking in her window, fucking bitching about getting some pussy, he's just creeping around all the time. There's nothing like likable about him, but it's like Jerry O'Connell comes off as like a real sentimental boyfriend. Like you're like, oh yeah, he's a nice guy, but which makes it even like is he the killer or not? So it makes you think about it more so when you think, oh, he's a nice guy, maybe he's playing a nice guy. But Skeet's character, Billy Loomis, is just like this guy's fucked up the whole time. The fuck?
Jerry O'Connell's character, I'm going to go ahead and just throw this out there. Jerry O'Connell's character, best part of Scream 2. Hey, right. The thing about him is, he reminded me of, like, a few people that, like, I hated in school. Where he just came off kind of like, I don't know, like too much of I'm a good boy. Or like whatever that fuck. Like, I don't know. I fucking know. Like, I have no problem with the guy. Like, he's a great actor. He actually like cracks my shit up in most movies. But like Satanic Panic, he's hilarious in that. But yeah, I don't fuck.
But I think that's what they wanted. They wanted somebody to seem like the all-American boy to kind of come across as not menacing like Billy Loomis, where you're watching a sequel and you're like, oh, well, last time was the boyfriend, so it could be the boyfriend this time, but we want him to be less menacing, so you're not really thinking that it's just kind of in the back of your mind type thing. Like, could he be?
Well, that's the first one. The first one gave you clues to the fact that, the boyfriend might be the issue. But before you knew there was two of them, and then something would happen, you're like, well, I don't know. It was really smart how they played the first one when it came down to that. There was there was mystery, whatever. Now when you watch them, you're like, okay, it's probably that person and that person. Like, it's never just one person. Now at this point, there's never just one. Like, it's an automatic.
Well, even the dude that was helping Jackie kill people, like, even he looked like he could be a serial killer. Like, he just had that look on him. And
he's great, though.
He looked really close to, like, Billy, too.
Mm-hmm. Timothy.
It was almost like they were trying to reinvent the character.
Yeah, Timothy Elephant, whatever his name is.
Elephant.
He's the one that I said like that. If they were to redo Dirty Harry, I could see him being Dirty Harry.
Yeah, I think so too. We'll get to that here in a second.
But yeah, Scream 2, it's just one of your typical sequels. You know, it basically doesn't introduce too many new people. So you're getting your core cast back, and you're losing Jamie Kennedy's character of Randy, which people were fucking sour on. Doesn't really do anything new. You know, it's once again, it's like a replay. Like, okay, 2 killers, and the only way we're tying it in is this is Billy's mom. Ooh, big surprise! But nobody really cares at that point. You know,
David Arquette has the worst. Let's say David Arquette has the worst limp ever in a movie.
big limping.
It's true.
So bad.
So that's anything else with 2? I don't have a whole lot to say about the second one.
I don't.
It wasn't bad, but it's not. I don't know.
Hey, okay, look, I'll say this: is it watchable? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm also a complete fucking stickler about certain shit, and I hate it when like you see a movie like, okay, well, this is where I got, this is the introduction of this film, this franchise, whatever, and then you move on and you're like, well, what the fuck was that? What did you just do there? Like you took all the rules, you were the movie that brought all the rules in, and then you kind of twisted them up and made me hate you. So that I don't know. I just didn't care. Just don't use pews when it comes down to like being a killer. I don't fucking do it. Don't use a gun. Fuck you unless there's a spike in it. Like it better be a fucking like harpoon gun. Dirty Harry used one of those. And Jason, you know what I mean? Like something fun like that. Like kill people in a normal serial killer fashion in these fucking movies. We don't need 6-shooters. We don't need little guns that are hidden in fucking waistbands. Little pew pews. Okay, little pew pews. Little pew pews.
But I mean, and look, the fuck out. Like I said, they brought back the core cast, so it's not Dewey, it's not Sydney, it's not Gail, it's not Randy. So the only person it could be is one of these new people, where it's like, Jerry O'Connell's character, fucking Timothy Oliphant's character, Sydney's roommate, the girl. Like, there's not really a whole lot of new people that to pick from, and you're like, oh, that's one of those assholes,
Yeah.
So it just doesn't.
I already didn't think it was Jerry O'Connell though, because I was like, would they really do that twice?
No, you're not going to do it twice. So that eliminates him right out the gate. And I think in the original script, it was
here comes Jackie.
It was supposed to be him. I think in the original script, It was supposed to be Jerry O'Connell's character and the black girl that was Nev Campbell's roommate. Oh, what's her name?
Let's make the same movie over again. Well, I don't think that's a good idea. Well, let's make it different. Maybe it's the roommate this time.
At least Neil.
Let's go a different one. What's Jackie doing on Roseanne?
Well, as soon as I saw what's her name, Laurie Metcalf. As soon as I saw her standing there and she came into focus, I was like, it's her.
It's like she's got something to do with
why is this chick here?
They were trying too hard to make it seem like it was Cotton, so it wasn't him.
Right. Right. Poor Cotton Weary. That motherfucker. He does not get, and we'll get to that too, but he does not get
3 minutes of fame.
It was just 15 minutes of fame, and he wants his innocence.
How's that
Diane care about justice. He doesn't give a fuck about justice. He just wants his innocence. So he's a piece of shit from the beginning.
That Diane Sawyer interview is looking pretty good right now, don't you think?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'd read that it was supposed to be the roommate and the Jerry O'Connell character again, and then there was at the end scene, Cotton was supposed to show up, and he was coming there to kill Sydney in the first place. So it was like multiple killers that were there to kill her.
Oh, I remember. You know what happened? The script got leaked.
Yeah, that's what it was. Somebody on this.
I remember that, and they had to go back.
Would that have been a better fucking story?
Yeah,
and probably also rejoice that maybe that didn't happen. It was bad enough we got what we got.
Let's think about that. Nobody would have cared.
We need some new characters in here. Who on Roseanne isn't doing shit right now?
Why are you so hung up on Roseanne?
Because I love that show, but there was no point of that fucking chick being in there. It was stupid. I just one thing I was a trope I always had. I hate it. Whole story plot just goes wrong. As soon as you realize, oh, it's her. When she runs away from the fucking like crime scene, oh, I've got a deadline. Obvious. Like, okay, all right, I knew it. Thanks.
Well, let's think about it. What if?
Oh, you mean Timothy Elephant is the fucking bad guy also? What a shocker!
Yeah, it's not a surprise. But let's think about it. What if they did go with that original script and they do the boyfriend again, and they do the roommate, and then they have Cotton show up at the end trying to kill Sydney, and it's like a fucking Mexican standoff between the three. Yeah.
Well, with all of them trying to kill
at each other,
they all want to kill her.
I would probably have been more okay with the Cotton being like, you know, coming after her with maybe like one other person.
Well, that has to exist somewhere.
No, they never.
They
I
never
don't think they got to that part.
I thought they sent it to. They did press screenings. It didn't make it that far.
I don't think it did.
Okay, never mind then. I wonder if that footage does exist somewhere though. I'd be just curious to see how it played out.
Badly.
But no, and I remember going to see this, and as soon as Jackie came in, people were laughing too.
Yeah,
was the other thing because everyone knew who she was.
It's really hard to take her seriously. Like, you know, like no offense to her or whatever, she's a good actress, but it was obvious that like, oh, okay,
yeah, it's just everybody knows you from this TV show you've been on for almost 10 years at that point.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, you're going to be in Scream 2.
Yeah, and that's really all she did. I think she just did the TV show, didn't she?
Pretty sure.
I mean, she was also an Uncle Buck.
Was she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
She was trying to bang Buck. Remember? They were dirty dancing in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
She was all grinding on him.
He got busted by his woman.
Shanice.
Yeah.
Shanice. What the hell's a Shanice?
I'm waiting for John Candy night. I'll definitely go back and watch Uncle Buck.
That's going to be a thing. I'm okay with that.
So Scream 2, I said 3 out of 5. Does everybody pretty much agree, or you want to go lower? Sounds like you guys might want to go lower.
I give it 2.
It's on the far end of the spectrum for me, where it's one of the bottom ones for me. Obviously, the one we're about to talk about is on the very bottom.
Yes.
Oh God! Yeah. Let's get it over with, and when we get to the good ones,
we can rank them in order.
This part in the
how
middle.
we like them at the end.
Yes, I gave this one a 2 out of 5. Scream 3, 2000. I was trying to figure out why did this one feel so different?
Because it's stupid.
Because it was a movie within a movie within a movie. Like,
and they literally made the movie and the script at the same time. Basically, they were doing it completely on the fly.
So that's a pain as you go kind of situation.
Handing out pages each day.
Yeah, and it's funny because they reference that in the film where fucking Jenny McCarthy's talking about, we're getting new pages every day. Why does the script keep changing? Like, no, that's how it was in like real life.
Yeah.
I actually did not get finished rewatching this movie. It took a lot out of me to rewatch.
Look at you.
I tried. I fell asleep. But like everything about this movie was something that it played out like a USA picture. You know, like, oh, there's a killer while there's a movie being made about the other killer that this killer is based off because that killer's dead and these killers are really here. All those killers aren't around anymore. Like it was a big fucking mess. Like, you know, the best thing about this fucking movie was Lance Henriksen.
Yeah.
Best thing.
And
everything else.
They really, really, really tried to tie everything together at the end.
How they tried. Sydney had a brother, right?
Yeah.
That was old dude. Okay. Yeah.
Half-brother.
That is the stupidest fucking thing you can do to bring into a movie, like a third movie. I had a brother I didn't know about, but he's really mad about this, that, and the other. Shut the fuck up. That is the stupidest fucking thing. Why would he give two shits about shit? It's all dumb. It's all stupid. I fucking hate this.
Years before you were born, your mother lived in LA and she was an actress and got pregnant with me, then just left me in California and fucking moved back home.
Oh, that's right. That's right. What? And they go to try find all that footage of her mother or something. Yeah, that's
the fuck out of here.
And they run into Carrie Fisher.
Yep.
That was a highlight, actually.
Yes, he was. Yes, Scott Foley was.
I almost got the role for Leia.
Like I thought it fell completely flat. Like the second one is watchable. The third one really isn't that great. I mean, it really.
This is really full circle with Dawson's Creek tonight.
It's weird.
And I told you.
Well, I mean, you jumped the shark when you got fucking Jay and Silent Bob in a goddamn horror movie.
Best cameo ever.
With Wes Craven's right behind him in that cameo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That still didn't save shit. No. They just no. Quit like rushing shit. Like okay, Scream 3 came out. A couple years after Scream 2 did. You know that you think that would have been enough time for them to go, hey, what did we fuck up on last time? And maybe we'll do something better. Nope. We're gonna go back to family members being angry and pissed, and jealous and all that. And they're writing a movie about everything. That's great. Fucking what a shit show. Movie was a fucking mess. I say fuck it. Don't watch it. Skip it. You don't need to watch it.
And again, does Dewey have the limp in that one, or is that the fourth one where it disappears? I think it's the third one, isn't it?
Third one, it's not as noticeable. I think there's a little bit of a.
Is it totally gone in the fourth one? Remember, he's
excuse me for just a second, please.
He's got to go vomit after Scream 3. This movie fucking sucks.
Yeah, and it wasn't written by Kevin Williamson. They wanted Kevin Williamson to come back and do the third one, write him a script. He had already been locked in for other films. I think he did.
Mrs. Tingle.
He did Teaching Mrs. Tingle. He did The Faculty, and he did H2O. He was a writer for those.
And I think this movie came along like right after Columbine happened. And I think a lot of movies had to tone down the violence. Because it did seem like there was a lot more comedy in this one.
Oh yeah, and
a lot more.
Yeah, and it takes you out of the when all the characters that are supposed to be terrified are joking around. It's like nobody's taking this serious,
right? Yeah, it's just it's definitely the weakest of the franchise.
I think by far.
It's definitely a wide margin. They have more room to screw up now.
Yeah. And it's like it took it out of me too watching the third one. Like I had to take a break after watching the third one.
And I don't think any of those people really did anything. They brought in all these people that were going to play the characters from the films as the stab characters, and none of them really came across as anybody you cared about. You know, Jenny McCarthy, everybody knew, but Emily Mortimer ended up doing some more stuff. But other than that, she was supposed to be I think they had actually thought about doing two killers again, and it was going to be Roman and her as the two killers in the third one, and they end up scrapping her as the killer.
Well, the little fucking like confessional tape thing, or what, like the legacy tape that Randy leaves, is pretty funny. That's probably the best part of the movie.
What, 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, he made his way in it somehow.
Right. Hanging out with his sister.
They had no fucking clue what they're doing. Like fucking Sidney doesn't even meet this guy until he reveals himself. Like he takes off his mask and Sidney's kind of like, who the fuck are you? Yeah. Like I've never met you in my life. Like even in this film, if you go back, I don't think she meets him at all. He's at the movie studio and then the police take him in. I don't think there was ever a moment that she met Roman.
See, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Like, if anything, just in passing. Somewhere.
I don't even think that.
Yeah, they don't look like it. It was a bigger mess than 2 was, and I didn't. But all right, so we all get out that 3 sucked.
Yes,
3 is definitely the worst.
Can we get back to the rebirth of the good of this fucking franchise?
Certainly, because 11 years later, in 2011, we got Scream 4, and it was surprisingly all right. I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah,
I actually would probably give it. I'd probably give it a 4, 3.5, 4, something like that, just because. I rewatched it today, and every time I've watched it, I've watched it 3 or 4 times since it came out, and it's entertaining, it's fun. There's new characters, obviously, whatever, and there's a little bit more of a mystery. You don't fully know who is going to be the killer. You might have an idea, whatever. They kind of pull you back to the first one, like there's a little bit more mystery. They don't make it so fucking obvious. I enjoy this one a lot, actually.
Well, there was
for me, it's like I really like the first one, and then they kind of go downhill, and then it goes back.
Then it picks back up. And there was a lot of scenes in 4, especially in the beginning, when they're trying to throw you off the scent. Like the cop, the female cop, kind of acts a little nuts, and you're like, oh, maybe it's her. Then Sydney has another conversation with another character, and you're like, oh, maybe it's him. So they really try to throw you off the scent in the first act of the movie, which
a lot of red herrings.
Right. I actually really love the opening of that movie, where we're just opening after opening after opening.
Yeah, where they kind of poke fun at themselves.
Yeah, like that to me was like smart as fuck, because you're like, what, and then
What's
you got fucking Anna Paquin getting stabbed by
it's Anna, right? Anna Faris, right?
No, it's
Anna Paquin.
Anna Paquin.
Anna Faris is from Scary Movie.
I mean, who was the other girl? Not Anna Paquin.
The girl that stabs her is she's married to Dax Shepard.
Oh, I know you're
Kristen
talking
Bell.
about.
Kristen Bell.
Yeah. Which I always thought she's just a cutie, like she really is, and brutal apparently. But yeah, I thought it was from the time that I started watching it and that opening, I was like, it was just over and over, and you're like, what the fuck? And it's like, all right, cool, another good opening, all right. And then I was pretty much hooked the whole movie. I like the whole idea of, all right, Sydney wrote a book now, she's back in town, and then what do you know? Somebody else is being a copycat, and now everybody's like locked down, and there's you're trying to figure out who's doing this, doing that, whatever the fuck. You figure out that Gail and fucking Dewey have been married for a while and all that. Like it's a fun one. They go back to basics with shit. Kind of have you wondering, kind of keep you guessing, and I love it a lot. I think it's a really good one, and it makes up for 2 and 3. It really does.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, who was I always thought the hottest chick in that movie was the chick that Rory McCulkin stabs.
Yeah,
like the
Kirby.
Kirby. Yeah. She quit acting after that movie.
Her.
Yeah, she just quit acting after that movie and just disappeared.
Really?
She did some stuff. She was gone for a little while.
Yeah, she actually is in the game Until Dawn. You ever played that? No. It's a very it's basically like a choose your own adventure. It's more like playing a movie than anything. She was in that, and that was after the fact. I'm pretty sure, or might have been around the same time.
They said she disappeared from acting for years,
and she hasn't come back.
Oh, she was on that show,
Heroes. She was big for Heroes.
No, she was on another show later.
Okay.
She played like a country artist.
Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Nashville.
Yeah. But yeah, she took some time off. She's back. She's actually in the new Scream movie.
Yeah.
Excellent. Makes me happy.
Which isn't a big spoiler because she's shown in the trailer. So it's not like.
Well, that's one of the interviews that I was watching this week was whenever she was talking about whenever they finally got a hold of her to bring her back into the franchise.
Yeah. Because Kirby's character apparently does not die.
Even though she gets stabbed a couple of times in some major areas and is laying there for a long time. She would have actually bled out and died, and there's no way they could bring her back. But whatever.
Semantics.
I hate it. I think like I've always thought she was just fucking hot as shit. But her hair in that. What the fuck was the deal with her hair? It looked horrible.
She got away with it though. She pulled it off.
I was about to say I'm going in the opposite direction because I fucking usually hate the fucking short hair look on chicks, but then I rewatched this.
I was like, but that's horrible.
I was like,
I thought she looked good. Yeah, she was killing.
Yeah, I was like, I'm digging this fucking look from her. She's nice and tan. She got the short hair. It looks good on her, and fucking, she looks.
I mean,
really
I wouldn't turn her away if she had that haircut. Let's be honest.
Plus, she, in the film, she's very well versed in horror and everything. She knows her shit. So it's like that's definitely a chick I'd be kicking.
That's what I'm saying. She's definitely the hottest chick in that movie.
Yeah, and I watched it earlier. Like I had forgotten about a couple of scenes because it had been a minute since I watched it. The fact that there's a whole movie watching club, and they had this whole thing where they were going to watch the Stab movie, watch the marathon or whatever the fuck. I kind of forgot about that whole fucking scene. But when fucking Macaulay Culkin's brother fucking decides to stab her, I'm like, God damn it. Every time it's like, what? This hot chick is actually like digging you, you fucking geek. Like, the way you gonna stab her? For what point? Just how big of a douchebag you really are?
Well, then when he stabs her, he's like, I've always had a thing for you, and you just now notice me. I'm like, what the? Then why'd you stab her?
Yeah, she finally noticed you. Now you're going to kill her.
You're gonna stab her. Don't stab her with a knife.
No.
Every virgin in the world that watched that scene was going, why?
Well, then you find out that him and Emma Roberts have been, kicking it. So it's like, oh, okay.
But Emma Roberts isn't nearly as hot as old girl is. I mean, sorry. Emma Roberts kind of knows the fuck out of it, though.
Nah. But yeah,
this is cool with her type.
But isn't she like Nev Campbell's niece or something in that movie? Or some weird shit. She has some kind of connection.
She's okay. Yeah. She's Jill Roberts. She's the cousin of
Nev Campbell's niece or cousin.
Yeah, the cousin of Sidney Prescott.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a breakout role for Emma Roberts.
Right.
We've seen later on she did the TV show Scream Queens. She's done American Horror Story. She's done American Horror Story, and she's becoming like this generation's Jamie Lee Curtis in a way. That's the way I think it.
Just no creepy kids in boxes, right? Am I right? What? Okay.
Not yet. The niece of Julia Roberts, the daughter of Eric Roberts.
That's where she gets the fucking lips from, and her psychosis is from fucking Eric. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, breakout role for her. Like we said, like with the first one, a lot of the cast went on to do big things. And this one, they've brought a lot of new people in, and people that went on to do other things. Hayden Panettiere, you got Emma Roberts, you got fucking Alison Brie was in this one. Oh, I love Alison Brie.
Oh yeah, I forgot she was in it.
Yeah, she's fucking awesome. A lot of people. Marley Shelton playing Deputy Hicks. You know who that is, right? Marley Shelton?
No.
I did, but I can't think of who right now, which else she was in.
Fucking remember The Sandlot? Wendy?
That's right,
Oh.
yeah.
Squints and Wendy?
Okay? Yeah.
Wendy Pfeffercorn? She was Wendy, that, and then she went on, she was fucking Dr. Dakota in fucking Planet Terror and the Planet Terror film.
Oh, yeah.
Grindhouse?
I always thought she looked familiar. I just couldn't pinpoint where I knew her from.
She's done a lot of shit.
But only two we would know. I don't know.
Yes. Planet Terror.
It's a good one. Death Proof.
It is a good one. I think so, too.
But yeah, fucking, a great comeback for the franchise. And it's so weird. We're going back, now it's 2023, and we go back and watch shit from 2011, and it's like the one kid has the headset on with the camera, and he's live streaming everything.
Yeah.
It's the future. Fuck, holy shit! They called it.
They fucking did.
They fucking they were way ahead of their time.
I was thinking about that whenever I was watching it too. I'm like, yep, that's today.
Yep.
Yeah.
People would rather film than help people. They just want to
They were
film
before
everything.
the curve.
Yeah.
I got to get this video
I'm pretty sure
uploaded.
Seinfeld had a whole episode about that kind of thing. You know, watching people get hurt instead of just helping them. You just watch them get beaten to death.
It's like,
You can go to jail for it. So the Good Samaritan law, whatever the fuck, whatever it is. Now everybody's like, "Oh, I got to film it." It's like you hear people on these fucking on these videos, and they're filming these horrible like atrocities. And they're like, "Oh my god!" And the whole time you're going, "Do something! Put the
Right.
fucking phone down!
Save them.
Like, help them! If you really give that much of a shit."
beat them with the phone.
Yeah, right. She's being robbed. Yeah, she is.
Poor bastard.
I'm going viral with this shit. Woo! Look at him kick her.
Can you rob her? Can you rob her under the street lamp? I need more light.
Yeah. Can you just move her over to the liquor store there? Oh, there's a robbery in progress. Yeah.
Although I will say, the fourth installment has probably one of my least favorite kills with fucking Anthony Anderson. Where
Oh no, that was
He
great.
just gets slapped in the head.
Oh, that was
I
great.
remember he gets stabbed like
Yeah.
you get stabbed right through the fucking forehead, not
that
die,
hurts.
Yeah.
and then
No,
fucking,
that hurt watching that.
and then he just crawls off, and his last words are "fuck Bruce Willis."
Yeah.
Like
that was
no,
great.
that's something else about the fourth one is they get a little bit more stabby. They get a little bit more brutal. They get a little bit more like and like a fucking stab to the head. Like you don't really see that much, and that's a good one because he just like and just the blood is just. I mean, the bloodier the better. I always say, and like there's blood everywhere, and just like the fact that it's more disturbing the fact that he wasn't dead yet, that he is like still trying to do something, and it's like, could you imagine just feeling that and just like trying to still get your gun out to shoot the fucking person, like dude, a matter of seconds, like
I'm
brutal scene.
if they just take out the part at the end where he's like "fuck Bruce Willis," the little comedy bit at the end, I'm fine with it. But that just put it over the top. I'm like, come on, motherfuckers. But it's a little thing. Although, let me backtrack here to part 3 because thinking about kills, whenever they're in the cop car and fucking they crash the car, and the one cop was on the hood, and this is part 2. I'm fucking way off. Part 2. When he's on the cop car and they crash the cop car and the pole goes through his head and through the car window and into the back seat, and it's like you can see his face and everything impaled on the. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Fucking. I thought that was a good kill, and it was one of those moments where it was they do good with the tension a lot in some of these films, and that one scene where they have to they're stuck in the back seat, obviously, the cop car. They got to pull the fencing down, and then they got to climb over the killer to get out. I'm like, that's very tense because you don't know, is he knocked out? Is he just fucking playing with them or whatever? So I thought that was good. They did that well, except the fact that, once you got into the front seat, I probably would have just fucking started wailing on the motherfucker. Like, I don't know if you're knocked out or you're pretending to be knocked out, but I'm going to fucking knock you the fuck out right now. And I'm going to take this mask off and see who the fuck you are. But, it did
this mask off.
It was a very tense scene. And then the fucking, she gets her friend out and fucking, then they got like, oh no, I got to go back. I got to find out who it was. And then somehow he managed to get out of the car and go around all that construction to come behind her friend and get her. But whatever. So
hey, determination is everything.
Yeah. So okay, but yeah.
4's good.
They had a lot of those moments in the whole franchise though, where you're like, "There's no fucking way that he got away from there and got all the way to there without no one seeing him."
Yeah, even when you have 2 killers, there's some imagination you have to throw in there.
Right.
A little bit of a leap of faith. You got to be like, all right, maybe.
So far, our order from best to worst goes Scream, Scream 4, Scream 3, Scream 2.
Nope.
2, then 3.
No, 2, 3. 1,
We
4,
did 2, 3. Oh
1,
yeah,
4, 2, 3.
you're
Definitely
right.
2,
You're
3.
right. You're right.
1, 4, 2, 3 right now.
I got 2
Let's
and
talk
3
about
confused.
5,
So
which
let's
for
get
some
to
reason
5.
was called Scream.
Right.
Yeah, why did they do that? I really hate it when they do
That
that.
was the fuck out of me. Like I hate that shit. Like it wasn't starting like it wasn't like Halloween. You know, there was like the whole trilogy of Halloween, Halloween Kills, Halloween. We all know it. You know, it wasn't like that at all. This was a continuation completely of the fucking franchise. Just call it what it was. Halloween 5. We don't need to just be or not Halloween 5. Sorry, Scream 5.
That's what it was called.
Okay.
We don't need to.
That's what it was called.
It's all Halloween's fault. No, it isn't. Just that other shit, whatever. But like, oh, lost my train of thought. Okie dokie.
Just call it Scream 5.
Scream 5.
Yeah. Scream 5. Simple as that. Like, why even bother like giving it a whole like the name that was already? It's a sequel. Like, you know, and it was good as fuck too. Though I was really shocked about it. Like, I didn't know how I was gonna think about it because I was like, all right, well, the fourth one was pretty good, but 2 and 3 sucked, and it took them forever to make a good one. I don't know. And
plus, it's another 11-year gap between films. So you're like, what's going to happen here?
And it actually ended up being pretty good, pretty entertaining, and you know, kind of it's keeping the franchise alive.
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
What?
I did.
Yeah.
Now I will say,
actually.
the first time I saw this, as soon as he came into frame, I was like, "That's the killer."
Yeah.
What's it?
Jack
Quaid? Is that his name?
Jack Quaid. Yeah.
Dewey.
Who plays Richie?
I think there were rumors before the movie came out that Dewey was going to die.
Yeah.
I think I remember.
I already knew that was going to happen. It was bound to happen.
But
I was really hoping they'd finally kill Sydney.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that they would finally kill her.
Oh, that was another thing I want to bring up.
I was hoping they were going to kill her in 4, but we don't get 1.
That was something I wanted to say. In part 4, I would have been completely fine with the ending if Emma Roberts would have got away with it. Like if she would have just killed Sydney there and got away with it, I think I would have been completely fine with that ending. That would
have been interesting, like take on that because they never get away.
Well, after you, interesting, you know. You saying that and us being on 5 makes me say too, like, does anybody work in these fucking hospitals when they're having shootouts?
It drives me nuts. And horror movies do it all the time. When you're in a hospital and nobody is in the hospital except the characters in the movie. Right?
Yeah.
And this one, the fucking lights were off. There wasn't fucking nobody there. I think like one nurse walked by at the beginning of the scene.
But it's fucking ridiculous.
And then at the end, now fucking shots are being fired. Where the fuck is everybody?
Yeah.
The glass got busted. They're throwing each other around the fucking room. And we've all been in the hospital before.
Yeah.
You would hear that going on in the room next to you. You would hear that all the way down the hallway.
Which I love how that movie ends up.
It's just a hospital thing. That's my peeve.
I love the fact that how Emma Roberts dies
with the
fucking because Courtney Cox is like, you know, she's walking up to her and shit, and she's like clear, and she's like clear, and then all of a sudden like here's Sydney, it's like, you know, don't fuck with the originals or whatever she says.
Yeah,
really.
Imagine
doing a Dawson's Creek episode.
No. Sorry, fans.
No Dawson's Crack episode.
But imagine if part 4 ended with Emma Roberts getting away with it, and then part 5 would have been, you know, Emma Roberts fucking taking in all the fame, being all this, thinking she got away with it, and she's the new Sydney, just to find out that fucking Kirby survived, and somehow like overheard or saw that she was the killer, and then you could have had a whole fucking story with that. So that would have been interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I would have.
Give us a day. Give us a day in the writers' room, Hollywood. We'll fix all this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, we've said it time and time again. We have great ideas for this shit, but nobody.
We'll make Halloween good again.
Make Halloween great again.
There you go. we should get some hats.
Maya
T-shirts.
Maya hats.
What else?
Maya.
Great.
I did remember what I was supposed to do at the beginning of the show, though.
Huh?
Heavy spoilers ahead.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't seen any of these movies.
Well, people, you know, I think
it's longer than a year.
But yeah, I picked him out right away. The girl I didn't know until the end.
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't. There was no, you know, tie in there.
Oh, and the girl said she killed Dewey, but the guy that killed Dewey in the hospital was like a fucking foot taller than her.
Yeah, that's something that
people that was a stunt
about
shit.
as well.
Yeah, she took like.
But that's
4
all
slugs.
shit you don't really think about. Like when you're just watching the movie, you're in the moment.
Right.
You're like, you know.
Yeah, because if you would have known she took 4 slugs to the bulletproof vest, like she ain't getting up that early. Like she's gonna be down for a minute, and she ain't moving for a while. She's gonna have some broken ribs.
Yeah,
like she was tiny.
Like part 5 was just, you know, and they've gotten more brutal as they've gone on. I mean, like I said again, good old stab wounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when she stabbed the fuck out of him at the end.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
It definitely was a violent movie. And then one chick gets fucking shot or whatever, and then gets burned.
Then comes back out again.
Yeah, then her face is half melted off.
I mean, I love the violence, so it always usually helps.
Yeah, I like this one. I thought this one was fun. I mean, it had its hospital moments, but other than that, I liked it.
I don't know.
I thought it was good.
I like Jack Quaid in The Boys. I don't like him in this film. Just too, I don't know, too weird. Like he's tried too hard, it seems like, and it's like you said, Dave, right out the gate, you're like, he's the fucking killer. You know, even like Dewey says it. Like
it almost goes back to the Lord Metcalf thing, where you're like, I kind of already have an idea here. Yeah, but in this one though, like it was kind of small potatoes. Like everything else was good and everything was entertaining, and they could have wrapped everything up, but they're not, obviously.
Yeah, I don't like Richie. I wasn't really big on the idea of Melissa Barrera being Billy Loomis's daughter.
That was weird.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Especially since she always had like visuals of him in the mirrors and shit. Like it was just, I don't know.
Well, because they said that there was a possibility, like, you know, there was a rumor he was going to be in it somehow, and I kind of already figured it out before they even showed it. But when, you know, he's in the rearview mirror or whatever when they're driving and talking, I was like, I kind of figured it. I knew it.
But just that concept, like, oh, Billy, you know, because Sydney wasn't sleeping with Billy, he went and fooled around with some other broad and got her knocked up, and now this is her illegitimate child. It's just like, come on.
It's a reach, but
yeah. I will go with Nashville. That I was glad they were at Stu's house too. Kind of wraps it back up to the original again.
Nice little throwback.
Yeah,
that's what gave them the inspiration to fucking start doing it, right? So they found out that they moved into Stu's house, and then they're like, "Oh, fuck it, let's just kill everybody." All right.
Yeah. Why not?
Pretty much.
Simple title, Scream. You can go on forever with these, and like, the fact that, you know, we've got this new one coming out too. Like, I did not think this would ever be a thing again.
Ghostface Takes Manhattan.
Me neither. I was surprised when the 4th one came out.
I thought it was just a rumor. I was like, it's actually going to be a thing. And then it was. And it was good, you know, and then it blows my mind. I'm like, all right, well, cool. I have a little bit of hope in this shit, you know, because 2 and 3 are ass. So I'm really excited about the new one, too, which we haven't even, like, really gotten there yet, but we're working our way. We're moving. We're pushing through the tunnel.
I think it looks decent. Like, I'm hoping to go see it tomorrow. Just because all this bullshit's stuck in my head now, so I might as well finish it.
Might as well finish the job.
I was always told if you're going to start some shit, you might as well finish it.
A lot of positive.
Go on.
I was just saying a lot of positive reviews coming from people that have seen it early, saying this is a lot gorier, which is nice. No Nev Campbell, obviously, so that'll be different.
No Dave Arquette,
obviously.
Clearly.
But yeah, no Nev Campbell didn't sign on to it. Didn't feel like she was getting the right amount of pay for somebody that was leading a franchise. Maybe so.
I can't argue with that though.
Makes sense. The male counterparts. I don't like getting into the fucking gender bullshit, whatever. As far as who gets paid more, whatever. It's up to the studios. But obviously, on other franchises that are drawing just as big money, your Jason Statham's, your whoever, that are the male leads for these franchises, they're probably getting a lot more money than she was getting. So, she makes a fair argument. So, and it'll be hopefully it'll be a breath of fresh air of not having Sidney Prescott in the series.
You can't miss her unless she's gone. So I think this might work out perfect. She shows up in the next one.
Yeah. I got a feeling. I got a feeling that this is Gale Weathers signing off. I haven't read anything or anything.
I feel like that too. I feel like she's going to die in this one.
Yeah, because it's the character arc. I haven't read any spoilers or anything like that. But now that Dewey's gone, there's not much left for her.
Nothing for her to do.
No.
There was a poster that I saw. I don't know if it's real or somebody just put it together, whatever the fuck. But where they took Ghostface and kind of put it in a very similar Jason Takes Manhattan poster. Yeah. So I'm really curious about. I'm really curious to see how many homages to that movie are in that.
There's got to be some.
I really hope that there is a rocker chick playing a V.
That would be sweet.
I hope Ghostface punches somebody on the roof and he loses his head.
I hope there's a girl that draws her whole anatomy outside of what?
Ghostface just walking through Times Square.
I hope Ghostface gets stabbed in the eye with a pen used by Stephen King.
I bet he kicked somebody's boombox or some bullshit.
Yeah, I was about to say walking through Times Square, kicking a boombox,
snatches somebody's ear pods out of their ears or something. Because there's probably no more boomboxes ever anywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
Give me them AirPods. Just steps on them.
I'm hoping that there is definitely a radio or something that gets kicked. Just like you have to. I mean, they knew. You can't say they didn't know what they were doing when they were like, we're taking it to New York.
Right.
Okay. I'm a big fan of movies that a lot of people trash. I love Jason Takes Manhattan.
It's a soft spot. Part 8 was always one of my favorites.
It doesn't make a lick of sense either, though. But it's still a fun movie, and the fact that I don't know, there's a lot of comparisons with this new Scream movie are curious.
Well, hopefully Ghostface is in New York a lot longer than what Jason was in Part 8.
Yeah, because that was pretty much Jason Takes Titanic.
Yeah, I think he was only there for 10 minutes.
Yeah, fun movie. Didn't make a lot of sense. Whatever. But I am excited about this. I mean, even the trailer, I've seen, because there's 2 or 3 different trailers out now, and I saw one where it seemed pretty fucking bloody, and it seemed kind of terrifying. But there was also, I believe I seen use a shotgun in the truck. I did see that. That bugs me. I don't want to make this a whole thing where our fucking slashers are using guns now, but I am a fan of shotgun blasts in movies. So hopefully, whatever happens with the shotgun, it's nice and gory and bloody and good splatter.
Well,
someone loses front of their face.
Well, from the trailer, I think that's just situational to that one scene, because if you watch the trailer, they run into a convenience store and they're trying to escape Ghostface, and they're screaming for help, and he comes into the store and there's customers there, and the one guy steps up to him what the fuck you want, pal, or whatever, and he fucking guts him, and then the guy that's working the counter has the shotgun, and fucking Ghostface ends up taking the shotgun from him, killing him, and then hunting down the other two girls. So you see all that from the trailer. So I like I said, I think the shotgun is just situational to that one scene. I don't think he's carrying around a shotgun.
I don't, like I've said, I'm not a fan of my slashers using guns to kill people. Man, a shotgun makes a nice mess, so I might let it slide. I might let it slide just a little bit, just a tad bit.
We'll see.
So where are we putting 5 on our tier list? I guess in the middle. Probably right in the middle, you think?
Kind of.
Yeah, I still probably say it goes like 1, 5, and 4 could be flip flopped either way.
I still say one for me. For me, it's 1, 4 for sure. 5 and 2. 5. I feel like 5 nudges out 2. I don't know. Fuck. I don't know. They're interchangeable for me.
For me, I'm sorry. Go on.
Nah, because like I don't know if there's a lot I like in 5. I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's not bad like 3, but I don't know.
I mean, they brought back what's her face, Randy's sister.
Oh yeah,
I don't care. Martha Meeks. Yeah.
So I mean, just like that just shows like the original bloodline's still there.
Yeah, but like the new characters, the Jenna
they
Ortega,
weren't nearly as good.
The Melissa Barrera, the Jenna Ortega characters, I'm just not. They didn't win me over.
Right.
So it's like for me, part 2, you got Randy, you got the original cast that I still like. The new people I didn't give a shit about, but there's parts of it that I do enjoy. So I think I'm going to do 1, 4, 2, 5, 3 for me. That's my sequence.
Mine is, I love 1. I think the original is great. Fuck 2 and 3, 4. So you got 1 and 4, 5, and then 2 and 3. So like I can't hate the franchise because there's only 2 that I don't like, and they keep making them. And so far, 4 and 5, I'm cool with. If you're gonna keep fucking doing this shit, because that was something else real quick, was the fact of, as far as I know, this is the only time that a killer in a movie is multiple people every time. Like you have like Ghostface, right? Ghostface is the thing. He's the face of this franchise, of these movies, fear, whatever. It's always somebody different.
Right.
So it's an interesting little like thing though, because it's not the same person. It's not, it's always somebody different. So it's just a copycat over and over again. So is it really Ghostface? Because it's a copycat over, because Ghostface originally, I mean, like, was Stu and what's his ass? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Like, so it's just everything after this is just a complete like copycat. So is it really Ghostface after all that, or is it just copycat?
It's literally the formula for Clue, where it's a murder mystery, it's a whodunit, and you're putting the Ghostface, the father death, whatever you want to call it, as the main symbolism for death. Or
this could really be what happened. If anybody's ever seen Clue, the end of that movie, if you watch it, has 3 different endings, and it always does that. And it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, completely.
I am your singing telegram. Love that scene.
Oh, dude. We got to talk Clue tonight. We totally do.
Yeah, always a different killer, but Ghostface remains synonymous with the symbolism. It's one of those things.
It's
like we
face.
Said. Yeah, and which. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they even said, like, I think in the beginning, like, Wes wanted the suit to be white.
Yeah,
and then they changed it to black with the sparkles.
They wanted him to represent a ghost. It was based, kind of inspired by the Scream painting by Edvard Munch. You know, if you ever, everybody knows this painting. If you never heard of it, it's called Scream. But if you Google it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know that painting. But it's basically the face and what it represented, and it was the actual mask was a mask that was released in the early 90s. It was in it was a generic mask that was in stores and everything like that, and they ended up just using that. And they ended up going with that. It was like we've said, it's called, if you go back to the first one, whenever they're in the police station, they look at it and it's called Father Death. Right. And nobody really calls him Ghostface till the fourth one, except Rose McGowan, who references it in the first one, where she's like, "Oh no, Mr. Ghostface, please don't kill me. I want to be in the sequel," or whatever she says. Right. So that's the only time you hear anybody say Ghostface.
That's true. I didn't know about that. Yeah.
And when you think about it, like, she dies right there, so nobody ever heard her say that except the killer, who ends up dying later. So it's just because in real life everybody took on that moniker of Ghostface and applied it. Then it was kind of like life imitating art. Later on.
So weird because I remember those fucking masks way before that fucking movie came out.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was early 90s, like 1991. It was a generic mask that was out in stores.
And it kind of almost has the Halloween thing, like Halloween was like William Shatner's face, with all that shit or whatever. But instead of doing it that way, they were just like, hey, here's this cheap-ass mask. We're going to make it a whole icon. And they fucking did. Because, before, and it was just, I can't remember what they fucking would call it. Because, if you went to Kroger or Walmart, there was always the cheap-ass masks and shit. And they always had that one. Yeah. That was always the thing. Of course, when Scary Movie came out, then you had the, mask and all that shit. But yeah, because you had the ones that, if you pushed a button, a squishy thing or whatever, blood would drip down the face and all that. So, the fact that, it became,
well, they even had updated versions as the movies went, because in the fifth one where he just they pushed the button that's built into the mask, so they can just talk regular. Before, they always had the little fucking handheld things on the phone.
Right.
Well,
except the voice changer in part 3.
Right.
I don't want to talk too much about it because it really sucks, and I'm running out of time on my phone. But the TV show. Did you all ever watch that piece of hunk of shit?
No.
Did you ever watch that at all? No. Back when it premiered, me and my ex, they had a whole Scream marathon. So we watched the whole fucking thing, whatever. And they were premiering the new episode, the first episode, the pilot episode of the Scream series. Sucks so bad.
Yeah.
They changed the mask. They changed the mask. It was a complete woke TV show.
It's MTV.
It was horrible. Yeah, it was. Let's be honest. MTV hasn't been MTV for a long fucking time.
Oh, no shit.
Right. Yeah. And so they had no reason. There was no reason for them to actually be a part of this. But they changed the mask. All the fucking characters you hated, you couldn't stand any of them. And for some reason, there was 2 or 3 seasons of this shit. I tried to watch it. I tried to watch more than one episode, and I found myself getting mad.
Yeah.
Just leave it alone.
It's kind of like Teen Wolf. Whenever I saw the trailer for that when it first came out, I was like, this ain't no Teen Wolf I remember. I ain't watching this shit.
Right? They made it was more like fucking Twilight or some shit, right? Yeah. Fuck that shit.
And they just made a movie.
Right. Yeah.
The mask was originally called the Peanut-Eyed Ghost, and it was released in '91 by Fun World as part of their Fantastic Faces line.
The Peanut-Eyed Ghost?
Yeah.
Goat?
Because the eyes are shaped like peanuts.
Penis-eyed goat.
The penis-eyed ghost. And
Ghost face sounds a lot better.
And like Chad said, if you go back and look at some of the test photos, they had the mask with an all-white cloak, and they decided against that. They said, it might look too much like KKK cloak, or something like that.
Jesus.
They're like, let's not go with that.
Yeah.
So
I'm a damn wizard. Oh!
in somebody's brilliance, they've decided to go with a black cloak, which even emphasizes the white face even more so, and it makes it more menacing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's easier to hide. I mean, like if you're in all white, you're going to be.
That was my first thought too.
Yeah,
you're like lurking in the bushes somewhere. You're gonna get spotted out.
Yeah, dressed in white. You're like going from tree to tree. Like, how is that? That's not scary. It's like, excuse me, sir. I see you there.
Like, I can see you, asshole.
Is there something I can do for you? Why are you? I see you. I still. Why you keep? It just doesn't make sense. Black, a little more, sawed off.
And you're gonna okay, you have a white cloak and you're fucking killing people. It's always gonna get blood on it, so it's like you can't be like fucking Patrick Bateman taking it to the cleaners all the time. Oh yeah, that's fucking cranberry.
Wearing a rain.
Unless you're okay with it, and that's your whole thing. That's your style. You slaughter people, and you get the blood splatter on you. And it's like a new outfit every time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you just wear a clear raincoat over top of it.
No, that ruins the whole thing,
very conspicuous. Like, who's that wandering around that white fucking robe with blood all over it?
Hey, was that a KKK member? No, it was a guy covered in blood. Oh, okay, it's fine. It's all good. Go back to bed, America.
That's the police report. There's a guy in a white hooded outfit running around killing people, and you're like, wait a minute.
This is Florida. We're not shot. Click. Oh, what?
But,
Terrible idea.
Before we wrap this up, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't give credit to two guys that really made this franchise. First off, fucking Wes Craven, R.I.P. Fucking,
one of the Godfathers.
The Godfathers of horror, who fucking, just along with the horror genre, reinvented himself in the 90s. It's like you go from Nightmare into Scream, 80s, 90s, this guy's doing it.
People Under the Stairs. That was his masterpiece.
Yes, so much stuff. And it's like he didn't slow down, he didn't stop. He just kept reinventing himself and fucking reinvented the genre. So, we got to give him the props that are due. And of course, Roger Jackson, who plays the voice of Ghostface in all the films. Fucking iconic voice. He also does the voice of Mojo Jojo in Powerpuff Girls. But
I'm not familiar with that.
What?
Mojo Jojo?
You don't know Mojo Jojo?
Is it the monkey?
Yeah.
Oh, it is the monkey.
Yeah,
I have a daughter. When she was younger, she'd watch it on occasions. But okay.
But yeah, everybody, that even though he's never been in any of the films, that voice is synonymous with Ghostface. That's what everybody knows. What's your favorite scary movie? Everybody knows that shit. Everybody's done that who's watched Scream.
Yeah. Even if you haven't watched it, you probably have done it. You know what I mean? Because you've heard other people do it, and you know what it's from because it's so iconic.
Yeah.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Yeah. So definitely two of the guys that fucking spearheaded this franchise into being the fucking juggernaut it is. And here we are coming up on the 6th fucking installment. Plus, but wait, there's more. Fucking Scream 7 already greenlit, they announced.
I was going to bring that up too.
Or
going to start filming this year. Scream 7 has been greenlit. We'll start filming this year. So the legend continues.
I saw that this morning, right before I left work.
So they have a lot of confidence in this one. We shall see.
Well, you got to kill off Sydney at some point, right?
Yeah, that has to be what that's.
Maybe. You know what? I'm really kind of hoping because she says she's not going to be in this one, but at least maybe they kill her off and they talk about it. I don't know. I feel like Jamie Lee Curtis died in the beginning of Halloween Resurrection, right? And maybe it'd be all right if Neve Campbell was to be killed off in a way so brutal that they wouldn't even be able to show it. They'd just tell us, and then it'd be good enough. I feel like that'd be good because, I mean, she's been the main face of the franchise for since the beginning. So kill her off, give her a good
Send
a
off.
good let me go. You know what I mean? Good send off. Yeah.
Or what if it's a fucking swerve? What if she's really in this sixth movie? But
She's
if
the killer.
She's the killer.
I was see everybody's been
That
saying
would be
that.
great.
And I don't know how I'd feel if Sydney ended up being a killer. Because I mean, like, you know, she's been so good about being the protector and the hero and the survivor and the victim this whole time that
more of a survivor because she doesn't really like what in the first one Gail fucking saves her, in the second one Cotton saves her, in the third one they both come
There's
in
a couple of them, yeah.
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 She just always ends up shooting.
because they suck. But you know, in 4 and 5,
Well, she always ends up shooting the person after they've already been shot multiple times, but she just finishes off by shooting them in the head.
Well, like the third one, fucking Dewey fucking shoots him and then ends up shooting him in the head. So Dewey kills him.
Yeah.
The fourth one, she does the paddles to Emma Roberts. So that's like the
Great.
first time she. That's the first time she really like fucking steps up. But you know,
Well, then she
she's
turns
more-
around and shoots her in the head or in the stomach.
Yeah, she's more of a survivor. That was another thing about this fucking franchise. I'm like, at some point, you would think this fucking chick would just be fucking carrying a fucking strap at all times. You know, like, why does she not have a gun? Why does she not, like, after the first film or second film, go to like self-defense classes and knows fucking jiu-jitsu or fucking some shit?
Well, in the beginning of 5, though, like Dewey's even like, "Do you have a gun?" And she's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, but I mean, like,
yeah, I should have Sidney Prescott. Of course, I have a gun.
Sidney fucking Prescott.
Yeah, you got to put the fucking in there. Well, the thing is, though, I mean, like, but what would be the motivation of that, though? I mean, like, she spent so much time, you know, being this character and being this way. Like, I mean, would she really actually go over to the other way?
She becomes batshit crazy.
I mean, it could happen. I mean, people that you know,
after all the trauma she's been through.
I mean, people that, you know, experience trauma over and over again in their life. I mean, at some point in time, it does affect them.
I mean, look at Daniel Harris at the end of Halloween 5.
You leave Daniel Harris out of this. I love her.
I do too.
But, like, I mean, you know, it's possible for somebody to I mean, because, I mean, how many people, like, you know, not to get all serious and shit, but, you know, like, it happens every fucking day. I mean, like, you know, people are raised being beaten by their parents and whatever else, and they end up being that fucking way. So, I mean, somebody being through traumatic experiences, like Sydney was in these movies, you know, maybe there's a possibility that she loses her fucking shit, and then she eventually just gives into some kind of weird temptation to destroy life. And I mean, maybe that's what it is, you know. But I thought that's a long shot. Really, I feel like they should just kill her off, and if you want to keep on going your merry little way, then keep doing it. You know what I mean? Like, just.
I don't know. Fucking Corey Cunningham used to be a good kid too.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
So maybe that's what it is. Fucking Sidney Prescott went up to the fucking New York to visit Gail Weathers and April O'Neil. Fucking went down in the sewer. Fucking ran into old Michael, and fucking they had this fucking moment. Their eyes met, and she became a fucking killer. Holy shit! Boom, crossover. And her fucking partner is fucking Jigsaw. Holy shit, 3 franchise fucking crossover. Holy fuck.
I mean, like, that's an insane. I mean, there's no way in hell that would ever really work.
Just good enough to be a shitty film.
Completely. It's definitely good enough to be a completely shit film. But I
Thank you
know.
very
Thank
much.
Okay, well, that shit we're entertained. I don't know. I just I kind of forgot what I was going to say.
He's blown away by this fucking idea. Like, if Marvel can have the MCU, they could have the fucking multiverse. Why can't we fucking do crossovers in our fucking horrorverse? Fuck them.
Well, I mean, like, okay, well, one thing that I know I was going to say was the idea of going back to, Ghostface being copycats over and over again and stuff. Even though I have my issues with it, it could be a whole new thing. I mean, it really could. I don't think it should be copied by any means by anybody other franchise or anything. But it's an interesting take on things. I can't be mad that the Scream franchise is still around. I'm actually incredibly glad that it is, for a lot of reasons. There's a nostalgia reason. There's the slasher aspect. It's kind of fucked up that the fact that the Gainesville Ripper, old Danny Rowland was, the inspiration for it. But the movie itself, like as it goes on, it completely kind of embodies that same kind of feeling of like, well, there's these movies that are made about this real shit, and everybody's having a great time, but yeah, there's just people over here that are victimized. You know what I mean? Scream marked a certain point of us horror fans' lives where it was like it was coming back. The shit that we grew up on that people looked down upon us for liking Hellraiser and Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, whatever the fuck else at the time. This was a movie that it came out and it was kind of like, all right, it's a game changer. Shit's about ready to fucking pop off. And it was just like the 80s. Bad movies, good movies, whatever. It was horror and it came out, and Scream was the reason why that came back out. So I could never say a bad thing about Scream ever.
Yeah. It became a part of pop culture. And
yeah.
It always feels like to me, kind of like with wrestling. Like I grew up with fucking professional wrestling, and I always loved it. And me and Dave always fucking loved it, and we always got shit forever when we were young because everybody that shit's fake. Fucking everybody hated on this shit, but we fucking loved it. And then all of a sudden, fucking Attitude Era comes around, and it's fucking popular, and everybody fucking loves it. Now I'm like, oh, now you love it, you fucking motherfuckers. It's like now it's cool. It's kind of like the same thing. It's like, oh, now that fucking they've taken this road where it's like, oh, more like Dawson's Creek, but it's scary and fucking slasher. It's fucking cool, man. It's fucking 90s cool.
That's
so everybody.
That too.
So everybody's like, oh yeah, we love this shit. And it's like, well, yeah, well, where the fuck were you before watching fucking Leprechaun and fucking all this other shit like we were? We loved this shit before you loved it. So don't come around acting like this is the shit. I mean, it's dope, but there's way better shit. And you should just appreciate everything. Don't just fucking take it for being a pop culture thing. Fucking take in the genre. Fucking soak in it. Fucking bask in the blood and fucking love this shit.
I mean, man, you use the wrestling reference. I mean, like when I was in middle school, high school, if you wore a wrestling shirt, like you were that kid. Like it was just, it wasn't like,
I was that kid.
I was too. And like the Attitude Era, when it came down to that shit or whatever, you were judged upon that shit, whatever the fuck. And then at some point, about halfway through, it became popular with everybody, and that's exactly what horror did.
Yeah.
It was, in 1 minute, you're being like, you're getting so much shit because you like this movie and that movie. I lost girlfriends over the shit that I watched. Okay, like, oh, well, you're watching this and da da da. NWO, that's right.
You couldn't have timed that better. That was perfect.
Wolfpack, baby. But like you there was a judgment there, and then like now when the fucking like WWE fucking universe is like completely a big miss. It's a complete fucking like trash field. Horror movies, we're still fucking reigning. Good shit going all over the fucking place.
Well, wrestling, wrestling over the last 15 years has been more catered to a younger audience. So obviously, it's not going to have that edge that that horror is. So
no, because like at one time there was no problem with like, okay, we had Sable. All right, and as a young guy, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do with myself. Well, I knew what to do with myself, but you
were a Sable guy.
I liked Sable. I
was more of a Sunny guy.
Yeah, and then like I just we won't even. That's a whole other fucking episode. But yeah, like you get to the horror and wrestling are a lot alike when it comes down to it. Because I mean, like now, I mean, movies are getting better. I think there's a lot of horror movies. Like we spent a whole big fragment of time on these horrible like remakes and ripoffs and whatever the fuck. But even those fucking turn people on to shit. And now there's people that are watching, like when it goes on to wrestling, they're watching wrestling and they're going, oh, well, I really love this. It's like, if you love that, I want you to go back to 1999, all right? And I want you to really tell me if this shit's really that fucking good or was this shit really good. Now you need to fucking compare them. Same with horror movies. Same with fucking horror movies. People these days, you got these fucking people. You got these fucking people out here that they're not really that big in horror movies. They're okay. They kind of like them sometimes. They go see a fucking movie like Megan. Okay, like Megan. Not a horrible movie. I watched it recently. I didn't have really hate for it, but it wasn't anything fucking great. But people out there that are not a huge fucking fan of horror movies love that fucking movie, and it's a fucking it's a fact. Of course you're gonna love that movie. It is exactly what you're fucking wanting. Or the you don't care about the plot. You don't really care about the blood. You don't care about the gore. You don't care about the shit. Hell, it's something that there's moving parts and there's things happening and it's Blumhouse. We're supposed to love it. It's not. It's all a bunch of bullshit. Like, but us fucking people that actually like horror movies and all that stuff or whatever, like we recognize what is true and what is actually like supposed to be around, supposed to be there. Those fucking movies. We can tell a fucking fake from a far fucking way, man. You know what I mean? Halloween Ends. Big old piece of trash. And the people that actually really like that movie, the people that got into fucking horror movies 3 years ago because their cousin Sally told them to watch Halloween H2O and it became their favorite fucking movie. Okay? And that's all period on that shit. And I'm not maybe being a dick. It's a fucking fact. It's a fucking fact.
Well, there's definitely a divide. You can tell the fair weather fans. You can tell that's why shit like Megan, shit like Smile are getting these rave reviews because you get all these fucking fair weather fans of horror that are coming out and saying, oh yeah, this is great horror. But then it's like the fucking hardcore people like us and whatever. We're getting our Terrifiers and we're fucking like, hell yeah, this is where it's at.
I turned Megan off 50 minutes in.
I'm glad. I'm glad that people are getting into horror. Like I have no problem with people getting into horror movies. Like I'm glad that people are like figuring out that it's not a bad thing. But at the same point though, I mean, like there has to be somebody around to show off the originals, to show off the reason why we like this shit. Was the shit that happened back in the day. Everything from Dracula and the Creature from Black Lagoon and Wolfman and Frankenstein, all the way to Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers and Leatherface, the Puppet Masters and Chucky and all that shit, even going all the way down to like, Cannibal Holocaust and the Fulci films like Zombie, House by the Cemetery, City of the Living Dead, all that shit. There is a fucking there's a pattern that you have to do. There's somebody has to be there to show that person who's interested in this shit film because it's a horror movie, has to show them where this shit sucks. It sucks really bad. This movie blows. I'm going to show you real quick what's good. Because you have to know that these movies that are shown these days, the ripoffs of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the ripoffs of Friday the 13th, the ripoffs of blah, 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 all that, so on and so forth. You can't fucking allow, this is where my fucking geek completely comes in. Like, you can't fucking allow people, you have me right on the fucking, like, you can't.
Can you make the ghost face?
You can't be a fucking horror fan and be a dick to somebody. If somebody is getting into horror movies and they're like, oh, well, my favorite movie is I Know What You Did Last Summer. Well, you're going to chuckle a little bit, and then at the end of it, you're going to go, all right, I'm going to show you this movie and that movie and this movie, and then we're going to change your mind. You know, somebody says that they like something like, I don't fucking know, like,
what boys? It boils down to the level of dedication. You know, it's like, you know, these other films come out and we might not like them or anything, but it keeps horror around. It keeps
it going. Exactly. That's what
it doesn't kill off the genre. So it might not be something we like, but it keeps the thing around. So you can't completely diss it.
It's that snowball effect.
Like you said, if you meet somebody and they say my favorite horror movie is I Know What You Did Last Summer or whatever, then it's you know that person has not dug deep enough. So it's like you haven't spent the time, you haven't made the effort to go deep into this genre and appreciate it for what it truly is. So that's where, you know.
I have to comment on my friend Ashley's comment there talking about Knife of Demons. One of the best. That is one of the best movies that isn't a Halloween, like Michael Myers movie that you could probably watch on Halloween. It's so fucking good. Love it. Not the fucking remake. So I really hope you're talking about the original on that one.
The 1988 flick.
Not the Demons. Fucking classic. I love that movie. I watch it just about every year, I think. We've seen it live. Yeah, it's terrifying, actually. Not the Demons. The lipstick scene. Horrible. Yeah. That guy's still down to do it, though. Yeah, okay, yeah. I kind of figured. I just had to make sure. Don't scold me, or nothing. But I mean, like, yeah. Not the Demons. Right. Good shit. Good.
Well,
yeah,
there
good
you
shit.
go. Any final words on the Scream franchise before we go to our clip of the week?
2 and 3 below. All the other ones are good. They're all more watchable. That's my opinion.
I would agree.
Like we said, you know, it's one of those ones that was a game changer for the industry as far as horror goes, and you know, it still lives on to this day. Where I'm hoping 6 delivers. You know, like I've been hearing about. You know,
I hope so too.
With 7 on the horizon, you know, this thing is just going to keep going. So, who knows? We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully, it's good.
Ghostface has become, like I said, one of the forefathers of the slasher face. His face is, you see that face, you know what it's from. It's synonymous.
You know what it is. But he'll never be on Mount Rushmore for me anyway.
There's too many before Ghostface on Mount Rushmore. Yeah. But if there was a second Mount Rushmore horror, I would put Ghostface on there. Definitely.
Right next to the Creeper.
All right, so we'll wrap the show up as we always do.
Hey, Chad, you like jokes? You think it's fun? You think it's fun? You know, for the record, Chad's going to bring this one up. I'm not going to go into this, but I will say this right now. Fuck that movie. Carry on.
I agree.
Oh, if you're just joining us, it is now time for our random clip of the week, in which we pick a random clip from a random movie and see what happens. Let's see what we got on tap this week.
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
Now. You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening now.
What happened to then?
We passed that. When?
We're at now.
Right now.
Go back to
Go
then.
back to then.
Now.
When?
Now.
I hear you, Michael.
We missed it.
When? Just now. When will then be now?
Soon. Now soon. Dude, oh fuck. I got that movie memorized from front to back. My fucking
so
gotta be my favorite comedy of all time.
Yeah, it's so good. Spaceballs, man. That scene too. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Keep
Hey, he's an
firing,
asshole.
assholes.
Yeah, like
Nope.
that movie is fucking hilarious, man. It's right. And honestly, I would probably say it's right behind Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke for me. It has to be. I always laugh my ass off at both those movies. Completely. Hell yeah.
Still to this day, I always say, "Fuck." Even in the future, nothing works.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna have to have a Mel Brooks night. Oh, I don't know. Can we?
I'm not mad about it. Blazing Saddles.
I want it. I don't know. We might get fucking canceled. I don't know. Damn it.
If we don't use certain words, we'll be fine. But one of my favorite scenes in that fucking movie is when the sheriff comes in, right? Let me whip this out. And everyone's like, "Whoa!"
Whoa!
If you haven't seen Blazing Saddles, that's your own problem. That movie. Oh, dude.
I think we'll a Mel Brooks night will probably be on the horizon. I mean, the new History of the World's coming out, part 2. So,
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
we'll
let's
see.
do it. But
Actually, if you were down for this Mel Brooks night to happen, you're going to need to share and get more people watching from your end all the time. Please. Post this shit.
certainly.
Yeah.
Watch us. Watch the show. Watch us. Watch the show.
Do
And
what
of
we
course,
say.
if you haven't done so already, make sure you click that subscribe button. We are live every Wednesday night for the Video Store Clerks Podcast. And next week, we can't tell you for sure that we will be talking about the original, one of the greatest, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm no John Larroquette, but
No, you're
you know
not.
what I'm saying.
Do I need to I'm going to study because I watched the original the other night. It's my favorite fucking horror movie. My favorite movie of all time. Maybe I should study that and I do the Larroquette opening. Just saying.
Okay. Down.
It could be a thing.
You do have the movie phone voice thing going on for you, so that might work out. I remember you used to always do the little fake trailer things we used to do in the early, super early episodes. That was always a good time.
Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
That'd be great. We'll have to work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my Jay Leno, and he was a midget. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shit,
I
we're
love-
still live.
I love the second one too. We'll talk. I'm sure we'll get into that as well. Fuck. So good.
I do. I like the second one too. A lot of people don't like the second one, but I
They
always
don't. I have a
I always liked
appreciation. This town loves prime meat.
Oh, yeah. I really, you know what? I really hope we get into some of the other ones because 2 was my second favorite.
Oh, I love to.
Oh, it's so good, so good.
Maybe we should. Who's stopping us?
Lick my plate, you dog dick.
Oh yeah. Oh, there we go. Hey, Leatherface, what are you doing, man? Oh, I fucking love it.
Get that bitch, Leatherface! Get that bitch!
Oh yeah, this is your desk. This is your desk right here. Oh yeah.
See, it's good stuff.
I feel more like Beavis, and Sam Kinison fighting when I do the impression. But yeah,
Yeah,
Leatherface, yeah. So
I don't know if I can say this quote. You two fudgebaggers are going to be the death of me. Quote from Drayton Sawyer. Not me.
Oh, so it's going to be another fun one next week. I guarantee that. Does anybody have anything else going on before we sign off?
Bastard Sons of Judas, go check us out on Facebook, Spotify. I almost said Stupefy. Spotify, Bandcamp, YouTube, Nasty Nation, Graveyard Talk, Spotify, Anchor. Do that shit. Love that shit. Share that shit. Love 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 that shit.
I think his battery died.
Oh, his internal battery.
Oh yeah.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We
Fucking
thank
Slim Jim
you
commercial.
so much for coming into the chat and hanging out with us. We should do this more often because, damn it, we're fun.
Thanks for coming on.
We are the Video Store Clerks Podcast. We are your Video Store Clerks. I'm Dave.
Chad, man.
I'm Mike.
I'm Chuck.
And I got 2 cases of jelly beans to get out of my ass, so I got to go immediately. We will see you all next week. Video Store Clerks for live.